Now, this is just my take on the whole situation with Kwame Brown, Now, Brown was a young black male. #1 draft pick into the NBA at 18 years of age. Straight out of high school, right into the pros. Not very many men can say that they have been able to accomplish that goal. So that sets him apart already. Now, when he was in high school, he was consistently rated as the best high school player in his class. Yeah, the best high school player in his class. And we're not just talking about in a state, we're talking about 50 states. Arguably the best high school player in the world, or its equivalent classes. But anyway, he was the player of the year as a senior in Georgia, and he finished his high school career at a place called Glenn Academy, which is located in Brunswick, Georgia. Now, it's important for you to understand, he is Glenn Academy's all-time leading rebounder. The man had 1,235 rebounds. He's also the leading shot blocker. He has 605 block shots. That's a lot of block shots. That's a lot of stuffing the ball right back down in your face. And not only that, he was the second all-time scorer at that school. He scored 1,539 points. That's a lot of points put up on the boards, bro. That's a lot. Now, we already know he was named to the 2001 McDonald's All-American team. And in his senior year, the man averaged 20.1 points, 13.3 rebounds, 5.8 blocks, 3 assists, and 2 steals per game. Now, I'm just saying, we could talk about what he did in his professional career or whatever the case may be, but he already broke records. He's already a cut above average. Already. How many of you all can say that you were this exemplary as a high school student in any sport? At all. I'm just keeping it 100. I know I can't. Now, yes, when Kwame Brown was the #1 draft pick into the NBA at 18 years of age, he was an adult. He was an adult. But he was a young adult from a single mother family, and he was an impressionable young man. Even though he was hard-headed, he was young. Young. Now, any one of the 1 to 2% of NCAA athletes ever making it into the NBA, ever making it, will find the transition hard after having graduated or having had some experience in college. Period. It would be a difficult transition. It would be a culture shock, especially for a young black male coming from a single parent family with lights and telephone bills in his name, trying to help his mother and his other family members skate by. So it's a culture shock. And some people are going to be able to handle this better than others. But it's my strong opinion that Kwame was put in the wrong environment and he was surrounded by the wrong people. But sports, like so many black men, have a dream, right? a dream to get out of poverty and dysfunction. That was his ticket. He wanted to remove himself from dysfunction. But little did he know how much dysfunction there was elsewhere to be found. And in this instance, it was dysfunction in the domain of professional basketball. Now, I have to say this. Michael Jordan, he's my frat brother. As much of a great basketball player he was, we have to admit, man, he was a lousy president of the Washington Wizards. We know this. Everybody knows this. Everyone accepts this. But I think he was even lousier in the way he handled the situation with Kwame Brown. I'm just gonna keep it 100. You see, everybody's not the same. And the way you treat men in their late 20s and early 30s as teammates is not the way you treat a young black male straight out of high school, man. You don't treat them the same. And we all know, man, we've heard the stories, we've seen the documentaries. Jordan can be a jerk, man. He's hard on his teammates. He intimidates his teammates. He talks trash to his teammates. He curses his teammates out. He has tantrums with his teammates. But the question is, can you do this with an 18-year-old boy straight out of high school, man? In culture shock? Around grown men outside of his age range? And he goes to practices and he's playing games and he's got to deal with this kind of overbearing pressure. So I'm saying the environment was not right for his success. That's one point I'm making. And look, I'm all for competition. I think competition is a great thing. I think it's good. And I think being tough is good. But sometimes a person can take being tough and competitive too far. And I think Jordan did that with Kwame Brown. Now, after entering into the NBA and not starting off as a sensation, Brown was labeled a bust and a scrub and was humiliated by professional basketball players, commentators, and members of the press repeatedly. This led to an overall unfavorable opinion of a young black man that was able to pull himself and his immediate family up out of poverty, play the game of basketball professionally for over 10 years, which a true bust cannot do, and secure a comfortable retirement for himself, which is more than can be said of many former NBA pros who rose up and who fell down into poverty and obscurity from addiction, poor money management, tricking it off. The list goes on. Now, you could make the case, okay, well, Brown didn't live up to his initial hype. Okay, I get that. But it ain't right to say he was a bust because he did not go on to achieve as much accolades as Kobe, LeBron, Garnett, and a whole host of others who came out of high school and went to the pros. So nah, let me just say this, man. Nah, Stephen A. Nah, Chris Broussard. Nah, Matt Barnes. Nah, Steven Jackson. Nah, Charlemagne. Don't take it personal now that you're getting sprinkles of mama's cooking poured all over your dome pieces. Because you were the ones calling this man a bust, calling him a scrub, disrespecting him, not just on a small social media site. This man was on ESPN being lambasted. The man was on Fox News being lambasted. The man was all over major sports news networks being called a bust, a scrub, and a no good, lazy player. And that's hard to hear. For years, the man played in the league for over a decade. So So after all of that talking and yapping and all of that joking, now he's coming back giving you some heat that you made him feel. So my thing is, if you can't stand the heat, stay the fuck out of the kitchen. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Keep your mouth shut. And this should be a clarion call, really, for people in the media. I'm not gonna even talk about the women. I'm just talking about the brothers who are on media sites paid by these networks and these corporations to assess, to analyze brothers' game and to make comments about their off the field or court antics and so on and so forth. Y'all need to pull back a little bit, man, and understand what kind of narrative you're promoting out here. You're making us look bad. It's one thing for them to make us look bad. It's another thing for us to make us look bad. And all during his career, the man had no scandals, none of that. Was never caught up with the wrong crowd, none of that. None of that. So it should be a clarion call. Stop using the media to tear people down, especially black men, young black men who are doing the best they can to make a living and grow in wealth and prosperity. Now, the worst part of it all, man, is that the players and the commentators insulted Mr. Brown by calling him a bust over a damn game, man. Owned, ruled, and governed over by white folks, man. And I like the game too. I'm not gonna lie. I like the game of basketball. I watch it. But let's put it in its proper perspective, man. It's a damn game, man. A game in which a ball is dribbled up and down the court and is placed inside of a hoop, man. A game in which black male bodies are weighed and assessed like slaves on an auction block, man. You see, in the grand scheme of things and in terms of relevance and importance, you all decided, I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Charlemagne the God, and a whole host of other people, but not so much Charlemagne the God as the players and the commentators. Y'all decided to make this man the butt of your jokes for over a decade. Over a damn game. So you're snickering and mocking this man, Kwame Brown. You prompted this. You're the catalyst for this. You asked for this. You thought you could throw salt on this man's name and that he would never respond because he was the quiet one. He never said anything while he was playing. Now this man ain't played the game of basketball in 7-8 years, man. As a pro. I think he left the league in 2013. He ain't dribbled a ball professionally except for Ice Cube's league, but the man ain't played basketball in the NBA for over 7-8 years. And you still want to talk about him being a bust and a scrub, man. You see, you gotta watch people who are quiet, man, and who don't immediately respond to bullshit, mockery, and humiliation. Because one day, the people you mock might strike back. Those very same quiet people, you gotta watch them, because when they let it loose, man, it comes off like a rage, a quiet rage. And when it's let loose, it can seem like it came out of nowhere, like a thief in the night, a tornado, a hurricane. Y'all made a mockery of this man in his career for over a decade. And even after the man played the game, you still tried to come back and make a mockery of this man. But one thing I know about people, and I've said this about people in this space as well, a lot of people know how to dish fuckery out. But they don't like it when that fuckery turns around like a boomerang and smacks them like shit in their own face. Now, normally I don't like chicanery and foolery and brothers going back and forth. I really don't like it. Because if I'm gonna do beef, I figure I may as well do some real world beef, and I really don't even want to do that because I'm too goddamn grown and I don't have time for bullshit with petty people. But you can't use national platforms to humiliate people for over damn near 20 years and expect for them to be quiet forever. So that's why I justify Kwame Brown sprinkling his mama's cooking on the heads of these fools, man. I have no issue, I take no pause with it at all. Before I get out of here, and I told you I wasn't gonna be long tonight, I want to share some thoughts with you from a philosopher. His name is Plato, and what he says about laughter and mockery. He says, a fit of laughter, which has been indulged to excess, almost always produces a violent reaction. Let me repeat that again so you can understand it. A fit of laughter, which has been indulged to excess, almost always produces a violent reaction. You know how it is, man. You got that one kid that you want to joan on and you want to disrespect at the cafeteria before y'all go to school, or at the bus stop before you go to school, or at the lunch table at lunch. You steady cracking jokes until he cracks you in your head. You better be lucky that Kwame Brown ain't doing nothing but talking. So I will say, you better leave that man alone. Like Charlemagne the God said, he put too much on it though. He went too far with it, talking about his family. But you need to leave that man alone, man, and let that man live. That man made over $60 million, man. That man is in the top 1% of all black men in this country, man. Leave that man alone. Stop trying to mock that man. If you ain't ready for that heat, don't bring that heat. Now, I'm not telling you, you can't laugh at people, you can't evaluate people, or whatever the case may be. You just go on ahead. All I'm saying is, just be prepared to deal with the consequences. If you can't deal with the consequences, keep your mouth shut, man. Period. And I told you I wasn't gonna be long on this, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.